Good evening. Good evening and welcome to the Monday, August 4th, 2025 regular business meeting of the Olympia City Council. For the record, we have a quorum with Councilmember Vanderpool excused tonight. Before we move on to the adoption of the agenda, I want to remind the community that tomorrow is election night, hence why the council is meeting on a Monday night this evening, and tomorrow we have our primary election. So please remember to get your ballots in the ballot box by 8 p.m. tomorrow evening. So with that, I need a motion to approve tonight's agenda.
Second.
All those in favor of the agenda as published signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. We have an agenda. So our first item tonight is item 2A, which is special recognition, a proclamation recognizing 2025 as the year of cooperatives. And we have a proclamation to be read by Councilmember Madrone.
Whereas cooperatives or co-ops are businesses that are owned and democratically controlled by their members and can range in size from small neighborhood stores to Fortune 500 companies, including grocery stores, restaurants, utilities, and credit unions. And whereas cooperatives foster inclusive economic participation by empowering individuals through shared ownership and democratic decision-making, ensuring that community members have a direct stake in the success of their businesses and in the profits of their labor. And whereas cooperatives promote entrepreneurship by investing in their workforce, building business and financial skills, and cultivating local leaders who are committed to the long-term success of both their businesses and communities. And whereas studies show that cooperatives retain workers longer than traditional businesses, in part due to their provision of higher wages, more flexible working hours, better benefits, and greater responsiveness to employee needs in the evolving workplace. And whereas residents of Olympia regularly engage with cooperatives, with dozens of local co-ops representing diverse sectors including food, retail, housing, and financial services. And whereas the cooperative sector continues to grow each year through both the creation of new co-ops and the conversion of existing businesses to cooperative ownership. And whereas cooperatives offer a valuable model for business succession, allowing employees and community members to assume ownership and management, thereby preserving business viability, local jobs, and community values during periods of transition. And whereas local organizations such as the Northwest Cooperative Development Center and South Sound Cooperatives, CoSound, provide essential technical support and leadership for Olympia's growing cooperative ecosystem. And whereas the United Nations General Assembly has declared 2025 the International Year of Cooperatives, recognizing the cooperative model as a tool for sustainable development, inclusive economic growth, and social empowerment, especially for women, people with disabilities, indigenous peoples, and communities of color. And now, therefore, be it resolved that the Olympia City Council hereby declares 2025 as the Year of Cooperatives in the City of Olympia and urges all residents to support local cooperative businesses. Signed in the City of Olympia, Washington, this 4th day of August 2025, Olympia City Council, Dante Payne, Mayor.
Thank you very much, Councilmember Madrone. And now I'd like to invite up John McNamara, the Director of Northwest Cooperative Development Center, for a few words.
Thank you so much to the Council for making this proclamation and for previous support. Some of you might know the Blue Heron Community Cooperative Bakery was supported in their journey to conversion to worker and community ownership by the City of Olympia through supporting a conversion academy that we put on a couple years ago. And that 47-year-old business has since added, I think, almost 25% new jobs and increased their sales by 36% since conversion, which is a great testament to job creation and also saving jobs in the community. And Olympia is really a special place. A lot of people, when they talk about co-ops nationally, they talk about Minneapolis, St. Paul, or Madison, Wisconsin, or New York City, or the San Francisco Bay Area communities. But Olympia really holds its weight with all of those communities. In terms of sheer number, there's almost a dozen credit unions serving this community of 52,000 people or so. And the number of worker co-ops and consumer co-ops in almost every sector is amazing. And the Evergreen State College offers the only certificate in co-op development in the country. So really, we hold our weight with New York City. which I think is pretty incredible. And I think everyone in this community shares in that success and in that wonderful work that we do. And I just thank you so much for doing this, and look forward to seeing Olympia join those names, those other cities rolling off the tongues when people talk about co-ops, because we are probably the best kept secret in the co-op world right now, and we want to change that. Thank you.
Thank you, John. Any comments from council? Councilmember Gilman.
So I just have to pass along that I met a couple who were a generation ahead of me who had a title for themselves that I had not encountered before. But they explained that they were early members of REI. They were living in a land trust in South King County. They had cashiered at the food co-op, you know, the whole story of several of these different entities, and they said, well, we're cooperators. I thought it was a beautiful term, and I'm really proud of the variety of bakery, bookstore, cafe, home health care, the food co-op for sure. We have a whole bunch of cooperative enterprises in our town that I'm glad to be part of. Thanks.
Thank you. Additional comments? Well, first of all, I just want to thank Councilmember Madrone for stewarding this. You brought this proclamation forward. It seems like a while back you were talking about bringing this in front of us, and so I'm grateful that you did, so thank you. John, thanks for being here, and I have to say that you know, one of the things about being in Olympia, it actually jumps out at you at the number of co-ops that we have. And, you know, I think about a book that I read in college called Collective Courage. It's actually a book about the history of African-American economic thought and practice, of which I had no idea until I read that book. And it's offered so much insight into how I see that, like, oh, the co-ops is a very Olympia thing, way more so than I thought prior to reading that book. And so I just thank every single organization in the city for what you do, and doing it in a very Olympia fashion. And the democratic process, which we value, is something that I think is a great example of how we can improve the lives of the people we share community with, and co-ops do that very well. So thank you for your leadership. Councilmember Madrone has the proclamation to present, and because it's the first time that we're doing this, recognizing the year of the co-op, we're going to take a photo and with you in the proclamation. Okay, so that concludes special recognition for tonight. So we're going to move on to public comment. We do have one person signed up in chambers for public comment tonight, and they have spoken in the last 30 days. So I'm going to go ahead and skip the spiel and get right to it. So I will call up Demia Yearling for their comments.
Okay, I just wanted to let the city council know that I have already emailed some of it over to Jay, but I recently, over the weekend, was severely harassed by a Sergeant Weiner, He threatened to have my whole entire credibility put on blast with Lieutenant Lauer. I was in court on the 31st of July. Commissioner Rue, one of our Superior Court commissioners, is now questioning the credibility of some of these officers. She is thinking about summoning 3 officers that failed to uphold the court order. Well, on camera, the officer had failed to put all the adequate information in the report. And because I have video evidence, all of a sudden, Sergeant Weiner wants to make it very clear that he's going to make me look like a liar, even though I have video of what has happened. And the Superior Court is very well questioning their credibility right now. The federal case is moving forward. The judge should issue his ruling shortly, sometime this week. And I really do want people to understand that I am willing to work on things. I just really wish that people would understand. With my autism, it's hard for me to verbalize what's going on. So officers tend to take that as disabling my credibility when I have a hard time verbalizing due to autism. It's on my ID. It pops up every single time they run my ID, but they fail to mention that in every single report. And we have a very big issue with aggressive dogs on intercity. I almost got attacked today. A supervisor almost got attacked. Another person almost got attacked. And I had called for law enforcement. They never showed up. Okay.
Thank you, Demia. I'm sorry for your experience. However, I do just want to make you aware, and those who are listening, that because there's pending litigation, you won't hear counsel speak to your concerns, but I'm sorry about that. But thank you for sharing your comments with us tonight.
All of the comments from that officer has been sent today, and I'll let him take it from there.
Thank you, Demia. Okay, so with that, we're going to move on to adoption of the consent calendar. But before we do, or is there any requests for questions or comments? Okay, seeing none, I need a motion to adopt the consent calendar.
Move approval.
Second.
All right, all those in favor of adopting the consent calendar as published signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Consent calendar is adopted. So we have no other business for tonight. So we will go ahead and skip right to council reports, and I'll begin with my report, which is welcoming back our city manager from sabbatical. I hope you enjoyed your time, and I know you just celebrated your 30th wedding anniversary too, so congratulations to you and Renee on that, and that's my report. And I will start to my right with Councilmember Madrone.
Nothing to report.
All right, Councilmember Gilman.
No report this evening.
All right, Mayor Pro Tem Nguyen.
Get your ballots in. Vote, vote, vote. It's we are so privileged to have so many ways to vote and easier access than many folks in many other states. So tomorrow's primary night, and get your ballots into a ballot box by 8 p.m. That's all.
All right. Councilmember Green.
Nothing to report.
Okay. Councilmember Cooper.
Just one thing to report, and that's this weekend, Councilmember Green and I attended the opening ceremonies for the Thurston County Fair, and they have their traditional elected officials contest, and we were taught to do a disco line dance, and then I think we're both in the top 8 dancing elected officials in Thurston County, so we'll talk about how many people there were on a different meeting, but but really it was a great opening ceremonies, and they gave Lifetime Achievement Award and recognized all of the volunteers who made the fair a huge success, and we'll know, in the coming weeks what the real numbers are, but it looks like one of the best fairs Thurston County's ever had, so it's really exciting.
Thanks, Councilmember. Any questions for Councilmember Cooper? We always end up dancing, by the way. Mayor Pro Tem Nguyen.
Our mayor is a very good dancer, so I'm actually glad that he wasn't there for the sake of everyone else. But no, thank you so much for sharing that. And thank you to you both and any other council colleagues that came to represent the fair. I think the Thurston County Fair is really kind of doing a big refresh, if I might call it that, and very, very impressed with the efforts over there. So thanks.
Can I, if I might, I would also like to say who won because it's kind of fun. Commissioner Mejia and Commissioner Grant tied, and they both have really good disco moves. So maybe we can get them on stage with the mayor one of these days.
Oh, somewhere. I don't even want to go there. All right, last but not least, City Manager Bernie.
Thank you. I have nothing to report. Mayor, I just want to thank you for your comments. And I guess one more time, want to thank and express my appreciation to the council for the gift that was the sabbatical. It was an amazing time away. I'm very much refreshed and re-energized, and just thank you so much for it. I really appreciate all of you.
Thank you, Jay. Right back at you. All right, so just one last final plug for the primary election tomorrow night. Get your ballots in by 8 p.m. So with no further business before the Olympia City Council, we're adjourned.